Let me be specific about those beats because I've said them, said that word a lot. But I'm talking specifically about the normal, the inciting incident, the goal or the problem.
What is your process for teaching screenplay structure?
Yeah, so I start with the screenplay. I start with the Pixar formula. From the Pixar formula, I go into character work. I am someone in my own time who likes to psychoanalyze things. I'm always asking people why, how, what happened to you? And so we do some work like that for the characters. The more that you understand people, the more you can understand your characters. Who are people? So in my class, which may make some people uncomfortable, but in my class, we talk about ourselves a lot. We're doing a lot of inner work because my class is also about fighting writer's block. And in my opinion, writer's block comes from lack of confidence and lack of preparation. So we spend a lot of time talking about confidence, talking about what our fears are, what our flaws are, what our wants are, what's standing in the way of those wants. Why? Because that's what's happening for your characters. What do they want? What do they need? What's standing in the way of that? What are they afraid of? What are their flaws that are going to get in the way of them getting the thing that they want, right? So if you start to understand how your own life, the life of your tribe members, I call my classes tribes, the life of your tribe members, if you start to understand why they do the things that they do, then you start to understand characters a little bit more. And now your characters can be more authentic in their journey. Because oftentimes I can feel the writer making characters do things versus it feeling like an actual decision that the character would make. So we spend some time on characters. So I'd say that's week 2. That's actually just what I did on a couple of days ago, week 2. That was last night. It was just last night. Oh. It's hard to keep up with time these days.
It's all one.
It's all
spectrum,
one big thing. Then we start to talk about goal setting. Because every single story is about your protagonist solving a problem or reaching a goal. That's why we are here. So we have to figure out what's the best goal for them to reach or who's the best character for that goal, depending upon which one you begin with. And then we start talking about, now, how are they physically going to achieve it? Because again, going back to, they need to save the world. Well, that's general. What are they going to do? How are they going to save it? And start asking ourselves, well, what are the things that get in the way? So in the 4th week, we started talking about the complications. We started talking about the stakes. In week 3, we also talk about world building because every single story, you have to teach us the rules of that world. If it's just regular old present day Earth, something that we see in the first 3 minutes are going to tell me that that's what it is. So you're still teaching me, right? If it's a new industry, like I love to use The Devil Wears Prada, right? I'm not in the fashion industry, so you have to teach me how it works here, right? So they open up by showing me how all the other women are nicely dressed and our protagonist is not, right? They show us by when she gets into that office, how everyone is looking at her, judging her. And then when Meryl Streep's character is going to show up, everybody is chaotic because they're trying to make sure they get in line. I'm learning about this industry, right? I'm learning about what the rules are here, even if there's not much being said out loud. So we talk about that. And especially if you're doing something that's science fiction, fantasy, supernatural, horror, then there are rules you have to set up. I need to know Candyman comes when I say it how many times, right? Because if not, then I don't have the suspense. Now, if I see a person standing in the mirror and they only say it twice, should I be afraid? Because I don't know how many times they're supposed to say it. If I understand they have to say it 5 times, I don't even remember if it's 5 or 3, but they have to say it X amount of times, then now I know when she gets on number 4 that I should be on the edge of my seat. But I don't know that if you haven't given me the information. So we talk about world building. And then in the last week, that's when we finally start talking about outlining, because I want people to know there's not one way to do it, right? You can do it a million different ways. So I show them different examples of how you can outline, but all of those things that we're learning basically break into those large beats. And let me be specific about those beats because I've said them, said that word a lot. But I'm talking specifically about the normal, the inciting incident, the goal or the problem, getting into Act 2, knowing what your midpoint is, knowing what your rock bottom, is, knowing what your point of no return is, which some people kind of mix into that rock bottom midpoint place. It basically just means we get to a place where something changes so much that our character has to change tactics. That's just all it means. Everybody gives it a different word, right? But then we got to get up to our climax, which is your highest point when your bad guy is going to meet your good guy, or your character is going to meet their problem head on. And then we get to come down to the resolution where we say, what have they won because they, succeeded? Or what did they lose because they didn't? Yet throughout that entire journey, we were following them emotionally. So even if they didn't succeed, we still feel satisfaction with the story. So all of those beats are what I mean when I'm saying structure. All of those beats fit into your Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And so I utilize those different weeks to talk about those different elements because they all break into those big beats.
And how can you tell? And I realize this is very specific and we don't have something to workshop, but just vaguely when someone is really forcing an action from their character, an intention?
It can be because the evidence is just not on the page. Or the evidence is on the page and your character isn't doing what you've told us that they do, right? So if you've said this is a really shy character, every single thing you've shown us is that they're shy. And then on page 15, they stand on top of a table and dance. What? That's not who you told me this person was. So unless you showed me something that motivated this, right? Then now I know you just needed her on a table dancing because of whatever else is going to happen in the screenplay, not because she would get on that table and dance.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're missing what would ever cause that if this was truly what the character would do. Okay.
Yeah. So we're missing that. So either it's just not there at all or it's the opposite of what you told us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like, we know that you needed this character to end up in jail because now the son has to avenge whatever's going on with the parent being in jail. But it isn't set up that our character would have even done any of those things that they did to be in jail. So now I know you're just forcing them into this position because of what you need to happen from that. So it's like, you got to set me up with the information so I can believe it. Because if I don't believe it, then now the stakes aren't as high. Now you just start to lose me as an audience member. Yeah, so it's just like, I need the evidence. So that's a lot of what I'll write in my notes. There's no evidence of this. This doesn't ring true. Like, where did this happen? When did we meet that? Well, you said on page this that this is how they feel. But on page this, they feel this way. What motivated that change? Where was that? Because maybe I missed it. I probably didn't, but maybe I missed it. But if I didn't miss it, then now you know it's missing and you can figure out how to make that connection because everything is cause and effect. People are cause and effect. If I have an argument in this room, when I walk into that room, my energy is going to be different if I had not had an argument in this room. So the same thing is true about your characters. Why are they doing the stuff that they're doing? What happened on the page to show me that motivates any of their decisions?